Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Warrior Code International. Levels Fight League 20 is about to take place in Amsterdam. Today is going to be a big event. It's going to be sold out. There's some high-level fights which will take place. And in terms of Levels Fight League, for the people who don't know this organization, Louis Sutherland, who now competes in the UFC, he was champion at LFL. Mario Pinto, who is also in the UFC, also got a very brilliant victory in his debut. He also used to compete at Levels Fight League, and he was a champion at Levels Fight League. You see Belgarui, Alex Pereira's best friend. He also competed at LFL. Now you saw what he did in the UFC. He was shining. So the organization is very, very professional. They organize high-level events. Very, very skilled MMA fighters take part in these events. So I highly recommend you to follow Levels Fight League because they're world class. I mean it. But anyways, I know we are watching this video because you're interested in Tyjani Beztati. Obviously, Tyjani Beztati is going to make his MMA debut. He was a 6-time world champion in GLORY Kickboxing, so what could we expect from him in MMA? Many of you will probably say, nah, he's a kickboxer, he better stay away from those MMA guys. But I personally believe that Tyjani Beztati will be very successful in MMA. And let me explain to you why. First of all, his style. When he was kickboxing, Tijani was never using the tight guard, never simply walking forward and getting in the pocket and then just exchanging basically 1-2 hook, low kick. No, Tyjani Beztati was a very skilled kickboxer with very solid footwork, with very beautiful head movement, with a phenomenal jab, with some perfectly placed calf kicks, low kicks, teep kicks, body shots, right hooks, just a very complete fighter. I'm going to give you some examples. When Tyjani Beztati fought against Andy Seymour put plenty of pressure on Tyjani Beztati. Seymour was walking forward, trying to get close and land some heavy shots on Tyjani. What did Tyjani do? Very beautiful head movement, constant head movement, very beautiful footwork. He never stood stuck in the corner. He was always moving out of the corner. So head movement, footwork, beautiful jab. In addition to that, phenomenal right straight, phenomenal right overhand. Just very beautiful shots. And the thing about Tijani is he never throws unnecessary shots. It's never wild. It's never uncontrolled. It's always very composed, always very technical, very calculated, very measured. Just a very complete kickboxer. Also, when he fought against Patch, and Patch is a legend of the game, a legend of Muay Thai, a world-class kickboxer, he gave Patch no chance. And basically, the left hook was landing very well against Patch. Also, the left mid kick, he has a very powerful left mid kick. But especially the teep kick, you know, Tijani's teep kicks are very powerful. They're like a knife. They stick in your belly, bam, very sharp, very effective. And I believe these teep kicks will be a big weapon for Tyjani Beztati, also in MMA. But to make my point clear, also when he fought against Chico Kvazi in both fights, I noticed he was fighting very well walking forward, but also for walking backwards, throwing the left hook, the right hook, that liver shot, liver uppercut, which he places very, very well. So, Tijani is a very complete fighter, very good footwork, equally effective walking forward, but also backwards, possesses all the weapons. It can be a calf kick, it can be a low kick, it can be a jab, it can be a teep kick, it can be a mid kick. Every single shot that he throws is calculated, measured, powerful, well placed, just a phenomenal fighter with very high fight IQ. And I believe in MMA, the fact that he uses his range and keeps his distance will help him a lot. His opponent today is a Brazilian opponent with a record of 3 wins and 6 losses. It's basically a journeyman. It's not a fighter who is there to make a big career or anything like that. And I believe that it will be a mismatch. I saw one of the fights of that Brazilian opponent. Let me see what his name is to be more concrete. So yeah, it's Italo Júlio. By the way, the fight is a co-main event, so I apologize. But Italo Júlio, you know, he's a journeyman. He's a person who lost his last 5 fights. I saw one of his fights. He basically walks forward, but in that fight, he just got caught by a couple of hooks, uppercuts, hook, uppercut, and he got knocked out very quickly. So he's just a man who shows up to get his purse, to get a fight, and that's it. I believe that Tijani will completely dominate and destroy him. I think it will be a knockout. I think that Tijani probably will finish him with a left hook, but it won't be one shot. I believe it will be a couple of shots, but it might start with a jab and then maybe a left hook, right hook, a couple of hooks, but maybe uppercuts. But Tijani will get the victory for sure. I think a technical knockout, a very dominant victory, and I believe that Tijani does have a bright future in MMA. If he invests plenty of time on the ground and also wrestling, I believe he can have a very successful transition. I also know actually that because I watched one of the Dutch programs by Andy in the auto, which is a Dutch program, and Tijani was sitting there. He was speaking with Andy, who is the host, and Tijani was explaining that he has done some wrestling in the past. So I know that Tyjani Beztati, I know he's gifted. I know he will learn quickly, and I believe that he does have the potential to be a huge superstar because he does have that mentality. He's a very hard-working individual, very determined, very focused. He's not a man who, when you speak with another person, you can very often see and sense if that's a serious man. And I can definitely tell you that Tyjani Beztati is a very serious man, very focused on his craft, very dedicated. So I believe that today he's going to get the victory, and I believe it's a smart decision to compete at Levels Fight League because it's a good opportunity, because if you become champion there, you can get to the Contender Series or maybe even immediately to the UFC, because Donovan, the owner of LFL, has got some very good contacts. So LFL is the biggest platform in the Netherlands, in the Benelux, and great decision by Tijani. I believe that tonight he's going to get a spectacular victory, a first round knockout. So that's my prediction for him. But there are a couple of interesting fights which will also take place, because we've got Yarno Erens in the main event, who is fighting against Edison Ferreira. Yarno Erens used to compete in the UFC. He got 1 win and 3 losses in the UFC, but his first loss was because basically it was a short notice fight. He accepted to make his UFC debut on short notice. He lost that fight. Still, it was a competitive match. Also, his last loss was against Youssef Zalal, the Moroccan Devil, who is actually a very skilled opponent. He took Ilia Topuria to a decision, I believe, 5 years ago. In addition to that, after beating Yarno Erens, after submitting Yarno Erens, Youssef Zalal has had 3 fights in the UFC, 3 wins, I believe 3 finishes, correct me if I'm wrong. But he did beat, oh, now I'm forgetting the names. He did beat Kelvin Ketter, and he also beat Josh Emmett. So he's been doing very well, Youssef Zalal, in the UFC. And, he's on a multiple fights winning streak there. But my point is, Yarno Erens is a very skilled striker. He possesses his best shots, in my opinion, are the right uppercut followed by the left hook. He places them very well in his fight against Steven and Gwen in the UFC. That combination, the right uppercut and the left hook, he was just landing that perfectly. So these are the heavy shots with which Yarno lands, but he's got a good jab. His right straight is solid. He kicks a lot. The calf kicks are very sharp, deadly. He's got a deadly right calf kick, places it very well, very, very aggressively, just very technical right calf kick. Very beautiful high kicks. Yarno Erens mixes it up very well. He's a person who is capable of distracting you with the punches and then throwing a kick, or distracting you with the kicks and then throwing a punch. In addition to that, also on the ground, he's very skilled, because in his last fight at Levels Fight League, he had a Turkish opponent who accepted the fight on a short notice, and they went to the ground. Yarno took his back and eventually submitted him with a rear naked choke. So Yarno has been working on his ground game. He has been improving on the ground, getting better and better, but his biggest skills are on the feet, where he's a very sharp striker with beautiful teep kicks, with beautiful calf kicks, with solid straight punches. So his left straight, right straight are very beautiful. For example, when you throw a kick at him, he blocks the kick and immediately reacts, just like a typical Dutch kickboxer. Right straight, left straight, right straight. So beautiful counter punching, beautiful straight punches, phenomenal right uppercut followed by the left hook, solid calf kicks, unpredictable, aggressive, walking forward, doesn't step back, very spectacular, very technical. And his opponent, Edison Ferrer is the name. Edison Ferreira is a Brazilian fighter who is significantly smaller. I checked him up on the internet, and although there aren't many videos which show a lot about him or reveal a lot about him, he's basically, I believe he used to compete in the bantamweight division, correct me if I'm wrong. So he's significantly smaller physically, In terms of power also, the difference will be big. I believe that Yarno will get out there and completely destroy him. I think, and that's no disrespect towards Edison, but he's physically smaller. He's a good puncher. I believe, if I think carefully, he does possess a good left hook, a good left straight and right straight. But apart from that, he's just significantly smaller, significantly physically weaker in comparison to Yarno. So I believe that Yarno will put pressure from the very first second, will control the center of the octagon, and I expect a finish for Yarno Erens. I believe it will be on the feet. Yarno will beat him on the feet. It might also be a ground and pound finish, but in general, I'm pretty sure that Yarno Erens will get the victory with the finish. That's my expectation. And excuse me guys, but from then we'll see what happens with Yarno. Will he go to the UFC again? Will he fight against Daishimar Kuriel for the title? Will he defend his title against Daishimar? Who is Daishimar Kuriel? Well, I used to train together with him. He's also fighting on this card. He will be facing Gilson Nogueira, also Brazilian opponent. Daishimar Kuriel is probably, from all the people I've met in the fight game, that's probably one of the very few whom I can call a real fighter, because there are many athletes, there are many sportsmen in the fight game, but there are very, very few real fighters. And Daishimar Kuriel is a real fighter. Basically, he comes from kickboxing. He used to compete in kickboxing at Infusion, which is a high-level organization in kickboxing. He was a professional, an A-class fighter, and then he decided to move to MMA. I believe that was 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago it was. We were training together. His style, I mean, first of all, he's physically very strong. I remember when I was training with him, and I used to be at least 10 kilograms heavier, but he feels very, very heavy. He's just very strong, very powerful in wrestling. When it comes to wrestling, to grappling, he's just built like a rock, very strong guy. Also, his kickboxing background, if you look at his LFL fights, the calf kicks, I mean, the way he places these calf kicks, the way he places those mid kicks, just so powerful, so aggressive, so strong. You can clearly see that he used to be a kickboxer. And, you know, apart from the kicks, he can also wrestle very well. He's very difficult to take down. He can take you down. His grappling has been improving significantly. He's been very dedicated to jiu-jitsu. His coach, Rolando Prince, is obviously a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and Root MMA, the gym where they train, is very much focused on grappling. So Daishimar has been improving in grappling. He's a solid grappler. His wrestling is very, very decent. He's powerful. He can take you down. He can take you down. He can stop your takedown. He's aggressive, always walking forward. If you give him the opportunity to unload, he will destroy you, because every shot that he throws is very powerful. The left body shot, the left hook, the right hook, just very, very powerful. There is so much power in these shots. He's extremely powerful for a featherweight. His power is, I would compare his power to a welterweight. His power is welterweight. His weight class is featherweight. He's a very big prospect, 5 wins and only 1 loss. And I believe that if he gets the win, which I do not doubt in this case, I believe that he needs to fight against Yarno for the title. I think it's a big matchup. I think everyone in the Netherlands wants to see that fight. So I'm very curious how it plays out tonight. Daishimar's opponent, Gilson Nogueira, I couldn't find much on the internet, but I believe he's got 6 wins and 2 losses on his record. So it's a decent record. He lost his last 2 fights, and he got finished in these fights. So he's not coming off of a good streak. And Daishimar has won his last 4 fights, and you know, he's been finishing his opponents. I believe 3 finishes after another. Especially his last fight against. Let me check the name, because it's a very, very difficult name. He had an opponent who used to compete at LFL. Let me check that. He fought against, I'm gonna tell you the name, topology. Against Stefano Cataccioli, it's a difficult name, but Stefano Cataccioli has a record of 8 wins and actually 9 wins and 4 losses. So that's a very decent fighter. And in that fight, Daishimar knocked him out. Daishimar knocked him out with the right straight. He basically slipped and landed that perfect right straight. So, you know, Daishimar is a knockout fighter who is very aggressive, very powerful, has got the mentality, the killer instinct. So I'm very curious to see how it plays out today for him. I will be watching Levels Fight League. Make sure to watch it too, because it's going to be a big event. Tyjani Beztati, Yarno, Erens, Daishimar Kuriel, you know, some very high-level fighters are competing tonight. So watch the event, and please follow Workout International, because I really need your support. I've only got 1 month to reach 1,000 subscribers, so every single one of you is extremely important for me. Every single one of you means the world to me. So follow the channel, Workout International. Let's go. Oos.